All righty, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor and a pleasure to have on one of our all-time favorites here on the channel. Great guy, awesome artist. Everyone loves him. It is, of course, Matt White.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Wow, you are incredible. You're awesome. Just talking with you is a joy every time, and unbelievable. It just seemed like 6 months ago we talked, but you just looked. It was actually a year ago already since we had.
Yeah, I think this is the it's the third time that I've been lucky enough to be on your show. So yeah, it's about a year ago. Since I was looking, to be fair, I was going through all the artwork I've done in the last year, kind of going, oh, did I show this last time or have I not shown this? So yeah, about a year ago.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Time flies, yeah.
It is. It's so good, and I was just thinking, oh man, I'm outnumbered by the Brits today, so we don't have Tony here to help me. So it's going to be America 1, Brits 2. So we'll see.
Blooming time, eh, Matt? About blooming time.
That means I've been working on some banners for you guys. So now I've got a few banners ready to go. So does anyone understand what the hell he's talking about? Lord help me, I'm outnumbered by Brits today. Here's one I'm probably not going to have to use very often, but it's good bloody point there, Ruff. All right, so I got some nice banners ready to go. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to get into a lot of stuff today. We're going to be talking about what's been going on with Matt in the last year. And it seems like there's a ton of stuff, which we'll get into the details as the show goes. But if you want to just kind of give us a broad overview of what the last year has been like, tell us so we can get a taste of what's going to happen.
No, that's cool. Thank you. Yeah, I've been busy in the last year. I've been working on sort of three main projects. One is the British Tank Case with Greg M. Smith with Compass Games. And I'll show you the cover for that and talk a little bit about the process of doing the cover art for that game. The second is I've got another print and play tabletop war game that I've been working on called Would Be Aces, which I'll show some art for and talk a bit about that. And then thirdly and lastly, since we last spoke, me and some colleagues have formed our own games company, but video games, which is what I do for a day job. And we formed a studio, and we're making a World War II game called Hell Let Loose, which is an existing game that's already out. And we're the new development studio on that project. And coming from a wargaming background, it's been quite an interesting experience comparing designing of tabletop wargaming to World War II video wargaming.
Wow. Just 3 projects. That's all.
It's keeping me out of mischief, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's been a busy year, but a good year. But yeah, incredibly busy. And I've tried to get in a bit of playing some new games and doing some content on my YouTube channel as well. So, yeah, plenty.
And one thing, I have to mention it now because I'll forget because I'm dumb, is you are actually a game designer. You've got games released that people can actually download and purchase, correct?
That's right, yeah.
I think that happened just before our interview last year, wasn't it? That was released?
Yeah, so I've probably done probably about half a dozen of my own games, and then I've contributed on quite a few different games from other publishers. So I've worked with Compass Games, worked with David Thompson with DVG, and worked with Uwe at Academy Games as well. And they've all been different, but all really good and a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome. Let's say hi to everybody. Phoenix is here. How you doing, Phoenix? Good to see you. Jeffrey, how you doing? Edward,
Hi, Edward.
David.
Yeah, see.
Hi, David.
Good to see everyone. Nerd Workshop, David Tomko. What's going on, my friend? Mike Butter Jelly.
Hey, Mike.
Meandering Mike. Koei. Are we gonna go with Koei?
Koei, I think.
Koei 51.
Yeah.
Extra Squeaky. What's going on, Kevin, Braun, Harold? And Harold has a great comment right off the bat. Hell Let Loose is a great first-person shooter. So I actually, as we talked about in the green room, I'm actually I started my YouTube doing digital computer games and stuff. So I've got over 500 different computer games on the old Steam and stuff. And I think you can get this one on Steam, correct?
Yeah. So Hell Let Loose is on Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. And it started life as a Kickstarter. That's where it came from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was funded on a Kickstarter, and the original development team is quite a small indie sort of team, so not too big. And they developed the game for several years, and the game was published by a UK publisher called Team 17, which is a long-standing UK publisher, famous for the Worms franchise, amongst others.
Oh, the Worms, right?
Yeah, so they published the original Hell Let Loose, and then the original developer, they wanted to, making video games, it can take years and years and years to make. So once they'd had their fill of Hell Let Loose, they wanted to do something else. So they moved on to their next project, which meant that they needed the publisher needed a dev team to come and pick up the game. They knew of me because of my artwork. So they contacted me and said, "Hey, would you be the game director?" Which is what I do as a living, as a game director. And I thought it was quite interesting. I've never done a video game based on World War II. So I went, and with some colleagues who I was working with at the time at PlayStation, we left PlayStation and formed our own game development studio company.
What's the name of your studio?
So it's called Expression Games.
Okay. Expression Games. Okay.
No one's really heard of them because we're brand new. Hell Let Loose is our sort of first project, and we built the studio around the requirements of the project.
Cool.
Are you going to be? Is that what you're mainly going to do? Is do the software development, or you're going to actually be designing in house, as doing the whole shebang?
Yeah, the whole shebang, really. All the development. So game design, level design, all the code programming work, all the artwork.
This Hell Let Loose is a game that's been saying, can you look at this, and
you can play it right now. You can play it right now. It's been out a little while.
We're going to have a live stream Hell Let Loose tonight. All the subscribers are getting on. 40 we're going to have a hell of a 20 on 20 game tonight. Let's do it. Let's do this, boys.
It is a a lot of people, it is a first person shooter. So a lot of people come to it and look at a video of it or whatever, and they'll look at it and they'll go, "Oh, it looks like Call of Duty or Battlefield." They're quite popular games, but it's actually a lot deeper game than that. It's a lot more realistic. I wouldn't say it's a complete World War II simulation, but it's very, very authentic, and it's probably the closest you will come to feeling what it's like running around the fields of Normandy or on the Eastern Front from a first-person perspective.
Wow!
And it's the team. It's a pretty big team. It's not as big as, say, a Call of Duty development team, but it's a pretty big team. So, like I said, we've got a fully formed, fledged team on it: artists and programmers and audio people, animators and game designers, which is the sort of discipline I fall into, and QA people and publishing people, marketing people. That's probably one of the differences between developing a video game compared to developing a tabletop war game. The size of the team involved, the amount of work, or the variety of work. A lot of the work very technical.
Well, maybe board game companies should employ big teams like video companies. They might get the errata. So
they might. Well, we in video games we have what we call bugs, software bugs, which are a nightmare to find and to fix, and that can be quite challenging. Well, also with Hell Let Loose, it's 50 players versus 50 players, sort of all in infantry squads. Probably a big inspiration, if you can imagine Band of Brothers, but as a video game, you're actually in the squad, and then you've got people driving tanks, people using artillery, and it's quite that was what drew me to the project originally, was because the game's quite authentic.
Looks great. Looks really authentic. Yeah.
They needed someone. They basically needed someone who was a historian and who could understand game design and game development. And of course, there aren't too many game developers that have a real speciality in World War II history. So it was sort of a too good opportunity to miss up, really.
Absolutely.
It's really interesting, the similarities in design and and some of the differences, between the two disciplines, the two forms of making game. You're still making a game, and a lot of video games that I've worked on. Thank you, Herman. That's very kind. It's great to see you, Herman.
Herman, I don't know if you just missed it. We just played the Hell Let Loose intro movie, and it was awesome, man. It was really good.
In video game development, we often use prototyping with paper because it's a really quick and iterative way to prototype out game mechanics. So I've made games where you'll actually design a board game to iron out your gameplay loops, and then you go from that prototype into code, into the game engine.
All right. So here. Now remember, Matt, you heard it first here. Okay. Just remember this.
I will. Yeah.
You know the current craze is to take all these computer games and make them a board game. We got The Witcher coming out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We have
Call of Duty's coming out.
Call of Duty board game. Yeah.
I mean, all of them. I'm just saying, Matt. Hell Let Loose the board
game. Hell Let Loose the board game.
Yeah. Hell Let Loose the board game. My idea right here first. You heard it first.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, and I've bored the development team to tears with my telling them about Squad Leader and how all tactical games have a nod to the original Squad Leader game. But there is some similarities between. One of the things Hell Let Loose models quite effectively, makes it quite different than any other sort of shooter game, is the importance of a chain of command within the game. So you're all in a squad. You may be running a medic or running with an LMG or anti-tank, and then you have a squad leader. And the squad leaders can all communicate to each other, and they can communicate to the commander. And the commander gives the squad leader orders, and then the squad leader gives their squad orders. But because we're all human, those orders don't always go according to plan.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So it's quite interesting. And as an artist, all my artwork is two-dimensional. It's all flat. So I paint flat, with video, with my computer, of course, but it's still 2D art, whereas in the video game, everything is in 3D. And so the research that we do is huge amounts of research, historical research, because the game's quite authentic. It was very authentic.
Well, I can see that with like the tank on your wall behind you there. You're just seeing a 2D representation, but on a computer game, it's going to.
You can see all the way around,
and all the dimensions right, and the colours right, and all the bits.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's colossal, the amount of research that we do. We, a lot of board game designers, we all do a lot of research when we're doing our war games, for sure.
But image research.
No, I don't know, Matt. I mean, come on. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to share with everyone the screenshot here. Wrong one. This one here. I think that angle on that front armor should be at 13.6 degrees. It doesn't look like that to me. I think there's something wrong with that.
Well, it's interesting. When I first met with the original team, met with the original creative director, we talked about. He was sort of asking me, so what do you think to the historical authenticity of Hell Let Loose? And I did reel him off all the things that were not quite right with the game. That only I think an artist or a war game designer would know. We know the subject, as a hobby, we know the subject matter so well as a group, as a collective. That's one of the things. But we will, for example, when we're looking at, I was talking to the 3D artist the other day, and we're looking at just guns and how a gun operates. When you're drawing when you're doing a war game design, even if you're designing a tactical level games, which I've done tactical level games, all the firearms are of all the different factions. but you don't necessarily need to know exactly every intricate moving part of every single firearm when you're doing war game design. But in a video game like Hell Let Loose, you do need to know all that because you have the animation.
It's going to take to reload it,
how
much ammo it's going to have, how often it jams, whatever. Yeah,
exactly. All that sort of.
It does make you want to. It does make me want to play it right away. I think maybe I might have to pick it up and play it tonight. This is awesome. Ruff,
all the details.
We're not ignoring you, Ruff.
That's fine.
We want to talk about. You had your video for the month, and now you've cleaned everything off your shelf. There, it looks like
it's all gone. Look,
it's all
gone. The reason it's all gone is that I can't decide what to play next. So what I'd like to do when we get a chance later on in the show is I've taken some close-ups of my shelves, and I'll just show them to the boys and girls in the peanut gallery. And maybe they can put a few suggestions in, and then I can gather those suggestions in and do what you did, and do a poll on the Tack Up page and see what comes up.
All right, we can do that. We'll do that at just before 5. Does that sound all right?
Whenever it's good for you. Good for the show because Matt's the guest, so cool.
Yeah, it's fine. He's all right.
Have you got any Napoleonic games in that list?
Only the quad game that everybody moans about.
Okay, Matt, I got to show you something. Hang on, I got to show you something.
Oh, I've got 2 actually. What he's getting, I'll get them for you. Hold on.
Let's have a look.
So I'm not going to show it to you, but after you are a Napoleon guy. You're all about the Napoleonic Wars. Most everything you do,
most
focused on that.
For sure, on my YouTube channel, I do cover a lot of Napoleonic games. It's one of my favorite historical subjects.
I talked to you last time you were on about, what games should I pick up? What system should I pick up? What should I get into? What this, that, and the other thing? You gave me a lot of suggestions. Well, I
can tell
an opportunity this year.
Okay.
Oh, jeez, watch out.
Yes, in at the deep end then, IT Jester. I see.
Yeah, and I noticed the way you looked at the 2 games I showed you. You went, move along.
Yep.
Thank you.
So this is the one I got.
The Albarera game. I haven't played that you showed.
You haven't played this one?
I've played those, but Ruff, the Albert, one of those games I hadn't played, so I'd be interested to see what you think to that.
That's from Stratagem-Ata. I've got to play that, so I haven't got a clue what it's like. I mean, I couldn't do an unboxing of it because when I opened the box, all the counters were in the bottom of the box. They're just sort of fallen out, so which is great, but not great for an unboxing. So there's that. That would be on the shelf as well. So
you're in for a treat there, ID Chester. That's going to keep you out of mischief for quite a while.
Here's the story behind this. Art Wolf was doing a drive for one of the subscribers who had cancer. And he was on a bunch of his games and stuff, and so I wanted to help out and kind of make a big donation because I went through the same thing last year myself. So I wanted to, reach out and do it. And that was what was available. And so I ended up getting it. I will probably be I'll probably be giving it away as a award for one of our lucky viewers this year. Someone who's passed the 10-game challenge. Matt, how are you doing on your 10-game challenge?
Not doing
let's move along. Yeah.
I got one so far.
I've got 3.
Yeah.
But there we go.
So I realized after I got it, I kind of got the same thing from like 20 people. Like, dude, it's a Napoleonics game, but it's like ASL. And I'm like, oh, well, then I don't want that. So it's too late. So
it's a big game.
Yeah, get Napoleon's Last Battle. I mean, that's it's simple. It's a doddle to play, so it's a nice intro level one. It's the old SPI game. And if you don't put this is the Compass version of it, where they put all the bells and whistles on it, which aren't needed. Just play it like the SPI game, and it's it's good enough. You don't need the extra units and all this malarkey going on. So I've been told. So I just play it. You know, it's like 8 pages of rules. You know, it's a little simple game.
Mike's playing number 9.
All right, Mike, get out of here.
Mike is trying to. Mike has been. We have different challenges. We have different awards we give out. We have guessing games. Like Mike has been off like 4 times in a row by like one number. Like he just can't win. So he's trying to make sure he gets his 10 done.
Desperate. He's desperate. Yeah.
He's desperate. He's like, I've got to win one. I got to win one.
Oh, I meant to ask you, talking about playing games, I've watched it all. It's 4 hours long, for goodness sake. Your journey into Atlantic Chase. Now, there's nobody about. It's only us few and only friends. What did you think? It's different, isn't it? And I can no, don't you think? I'm talking to you.
Me? Okay.
4 hours. 4 hours playing Atlantic Chase. What did you think of it? Honestly, I won't be offended.
Okay. Here's what I will say about Atlantic Chase. The first thing I will say is I need to give it another chance. Okay. It could have been the scenario I played. It could have been, it could have been in just my, how the situation turned out, which might not happen every time. So I need to give it another whirl. I'd even talked with Mike Butterjelly because I know he's a big Atlantic Chases guy, and I texted him and I said, "Hey, I did not like Atlantic Chase. Give me some pointers or some tips." So he volunteered to give me some information that maybe I would, and I said, well, you know what? Why don't I point through a couple of just the tutorial scenarios
and
see how they go. And see how they get
comfortable with how things.
I'm not going to go off on the game yet, but I will just say that I am not happy with the mechanics in the game as designed for that scenario. Like I said, could have just been that one scenario. I basically got boxed in, and it was like people call it cat versus mouse, right? There was no mouse on my part. There was literally, I got hammered every single time. And it was only because Blue Tweezers rolled a 2, a 3, and then he rolled a 2 again that I was able to get home without getting my ass blown to smithereens. So if he would have rolled anything, like he had a +7 to one of his attacks. You only need a 9 or higher to hit. He rolled a 2.
But as you play it more, the tactics and strategies that come in will not allow the opposition to get into that situation where they only need to throw a 1 or a 2 because they've got a +7, because you now know what not to do. And don't do this, don't do that, because they'll box you in across the eyes and dot the I's and cross the T's and all that. And I'm glad you give me another go though, because have you played it, Matt?
I decided.
I haven't.
I think it's great.
Have you played it?
I missed it on the first time, and then I saw it got reprinted, and I saw Second Chance Games have got it, but then I saw they've got a sale on at the minute, which is very tempting. There's summer sale they've just announced today. Yeah. So.
Oh, sale at Second Chance?
Second Chance, yeah.
And then you announced that on our show. You realized
it's public. I put it on Facebook, but I cannot. I accept no responsibility for anyone's wallet at the minute on the Second Chance games.
When I announced that you were coming on the show, I had like 5 people comment about how you've cost them tons of money. So,
well, I see, and sorry,
I'm still umming and ahhing about the Hexasim game you love, and you recommended to him. I'm still umming and ahhing because I can't get into Napoleonics as much as I can. Obviously, Second World War, naval games or air games, So, it's still there.
It's really good. And I saw in the comments Kevin and David talking about one of my favorite series, which is Joie de Gloire series. They are great games. And there's like a bunch of them that you can buy, and they're not expensive, which is great for our hobby because you know, we all know, especially living here in the UK, the cost of the wargaming hobby can be a little wallet stretching, shall we say. But those Napoleonic games are very reasonably priced. Yeah, they're great. I love them.
And the other thing that I found out this week, actually, I found out a little bit ago. We talked about it, but I got reminded that Herman is actually working on a Napoleonics game. So,
well, his Waterloo game's out, isn't it?
It's a new series he's working on. So I'm not sure.
Well,
He hasn't given much detail on it yet. So yeah, we'll have to see when it comes out. Which is good for me because I think a lot of these, I think we talked about this last time you were on, is the fact that a lot of these Napoleonic games have been out for years and years. There's 10 games in the series already.
Yep.
I kind of feel like I missed the boat because I'm going in blind. I haven't grown with the series. So, oh, here it is. Napoleonic's A Blind Sword.
Yes.
So, so that's why I was excited when Herman announced that he was working on a new series. Is like, oh, I can get into a game as it's developing, as it's coming out.
At the ground level. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. You know, some of those, you're right, some of those games have been out for a while, just as a series. The Operational Studies Group games have been out for a while. The Hex, I suppose also because of the nature of the history, they are... a lot of people ask me on my YouTube channel, if I'm in the States, where can I get Hexasim stuff? Where can I get, you know, the Vae Victis stuff? Here in the UK, we can get them all from Second Chance, and they're very reasonably priced. But in the States, I believe a lot of them. Oh, is that right? Okay, cool. I'm just reading Herman's comments on that. I believe GMT carry a lot of their games. GMT. The Hexasim ones I highly recommend if you're interested in.
They look great, you know.
They are. I mean, the production is
the ones that's done the what is it? Combat Commander, or not Combat Commander?
Great Commander. They did the World War One.
Great War Commander, yeah. And I've been waiting for them to reprint the base game because I picked up the expansion pack, but I haven't got the base game, so I'm still waiting on that. So yeah, it's interesting because like I have GMT over here, so you know I get a lot of stuff from them. Yep. You guys have your European companies, you get a lot of stuff from those guys, and not a lot of crossover. You know, it's just harder. It's harder for us to get Hexasim.
Yeah, we get Hexasim, and mind you, VUCA, which is in Germany.
Yeah,
you've got a supply point in Texas, so you can get those easy enough. I just wish, you know, American companies would do the same so we can get them, you know, so they bulk ship them out to Texas and then they just post them with US postage rates, you know, rather than second mortgage type fees. So
I know you're doing a lot of work. You got a lot of projects going on. Do you still get a chance to play a lot of board games?
I do. I try to play as many as I can. It can be challenging at different times. Recently, I've been playing Napoleonics quite a lot.
Ooh, surprise!
Surprise!
That's one of your things, isn't it? So
it is one of I suppose, like everyone, we all have our favourite historical periods. For me, it's obviously World War II, and that's why, you know, most of my work is around. But outside of World War II, it's probably what I'll just describe as sort of the Black Powder-esque era. So. Napoleonics, the American War of Revolution, I've just started to dip into the American Civil War.
Yeah, I'll keep trying. It's another thing I've got to learn, you know, another history I've got to learn.
Yeah, see, I like that. I revel in that, sort of learning you know, something new about history. And then and there aren't too many tabletop hex and counter type war games, but the English Civil War. I have been painting quite a lot of miniatures as well.
Have you tried Musket and Pike?
So interesting. I looked at that the other day, and Vae Victis have I'm not going to try and pronounce it because it's in French. They have a Musket and Pike rule set, which is based off the GMT game, I believe, that's slightly streamlined, and a lot of players of that will say use the Vevictis rule set.
Oh, right.
So yeah, it's obviously you got the Vevictis magazine, the French magazine.
Yep, yep.
Oh boy, here we go. You know how you're in Mr.
Oh,
Napoleonic.
God, you've woken
There's
Yep.
Mr. ACW right there, hex to
Yeah.
hex. He is our ACW guy.
Yeah.
Whenever we have a Civil War question, it's like, "Where's Hex?" We got to call Hex. 'Cause he knows
Get
everything.
Hexy on the phone. Yeah.
So anything black powder orientate, if it's got a musket in it or an early rifle, cannons, cavalry, horse, infantry, foot, that sort of thing. I love that period, and I'll either play hex counter type war games or miniature based war games, depending on the period. Like I said, English Civil War is not many.
No, there
board
aren't.
game. There's not too many. There's loads of minis you can get for, especially here in the not surprisingly here in the UK.
It's a big thing over here still, isn't it? Miniature wargaming. So
yeah. Because I was interested when you guys in the last episode were talking about wargaming and the popularity of wargaming and getting new people here. Certainly here in the UK, miniature wargaming is incredibly popular
because it goes back decades anyway, doesn't it? That so I remember my father getting a book, tabletop war games and how to set it up, and it was all measuring and all that sort of thing. And that's still, when you mention war games, a lot of people say, "Oh, you mean with the little miniature?" They don't.
Certainly here in the UK, I think predominantly Europe as well, maybe, but I can't speak for the for the European countries. But certainly in the UK, if you say war gaming, people will think of miniature games.
No, and you go, no, board games. They go, oh, well, like Risk.
Yeah, like Risk.
Well, it's funny because 60% of all games produced are Euro games, which are from Euro, and they have the Euro theme. You think Euros would think about that before they would think about something else.
Yeah.
But
to be honest, I don't really. I don't really play a lot of Euro games. I'll be honest with you. I did try the one about the wine that I forget the name of.
Viticulture?
That's right. And I thought I quite like board games and I quite like wine, so I should probably get a game about that. And I played it for half an hour, put it back in the box, and never played it again. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Really?
Wow.
They all see. I played a worker placement game once, and they all went on strike, and it's no point playing it. Ameritrash.
Okay, Ruff. I'm going to give you your banner. There you go.
Yeah.
I like Ameritrash. Throwing dice and attacking monsters and nonsense. That's more like it for me.
Yeah. I'm 100. To be honest with you, and I watched your video, IT Jester, on playing solitaire board games, which I thought was great. And I play most of.
You say that. That's nice. Thank you.
I thought it was really cool, and it was interesting because a lot of your sort of thinking behind a lot of the points you were making, I was like, completely agree with that one. But for me, I predominantly play, if it's a board game, war game, I will probably play it 99% solitaire. Even if it's not designed for solitaire, probably, that comes from playing these games
like
for years.
Just said, one of the reasons is we've got no mates, so we've got no friends, so we've got to play it solo. So
it's not meant. Situation is different, but I mean, some people they live out in the country and they just can't get together with people, whatever. I've completely different. I mean, I was a multiplayer gamer for 28 years. I moved down here and then I became a solo gamer, and then going and playing again with people. I'm like, this is weird playing with people again.
It was the first time I did as well. And it was interesting to know that, to find out your previous job, you were a cabbie, a taxi driver.
Yeah, I thought that was, I was like, I didn't know that. Wouldn't have thought that necessarily, So
10 out of 10 of the solo game. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you guys. It's just something I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I finally decided to do it because I couldn't go to work yesterday because my knee was all swollen up. And so I'm like, well, I'm taking the day off of work. I might as well
do something,
do something constructive and get it
done.
I
think I hear through the grapevine that video has now gone on they're doing a new thing in the Charlies for next year. the best. There's a Stigler Award for the best solo video, and I think you've gone into it. So,
You think I'm going to win that one, huh?
that's Stigler. It's the Stigler Award because you know how he loves
Stigler
it.
Award. Yes, yes, I got you. I got you. I understand.
One of my most viewed videos on my channel is about, well, it's not about playing miniature games solo, but it's a game that's predominantly played 2-player minis game. You know, a game called Hail Caesar, which is sort of ancients, and I've been painting this massive English Celt army versus a Roman army. And I was just one day I played the game with my son, and then afterwards I thought, you know what, I'm just going to play it solo like I do a hex game, and I did a video on that, and that's been surprisingly popular. So I think even minis playing games solo with minis, which is playing miniature war games.
It's weird. People will play. Yeah, sorry, Matt. Go on. I was just going to say that people play war games two-handed. Do but miniatures they don't, do they?
Yeah, no. But I think that's more of a thing than people recognize. I think more people.
You'd open the floodgates now.
Yeah,
we're going. Oh, I can play it solo, right? So yeah,
because you spend all this time, for someone who plays a lot of miniature games and a lot of hex games, and my sons are big into minis games as well, and I spend hours and hours and hours carefully painting beautiful armies, and then you'll play the game, once a month or something, right? Or if not even that. But they actually solo surprisingly well.
I was going to say, I know you've got measuring and all this and different mechanisms in miniature games, but basically it's just counters that stand up, isn't it? So,
yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's just the metric of distance is different.
Instead of having hexes, you measure that out, don't you?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And some of the games, there's a game called for World War II miniature stuff, for example, there's a game called Bolt Action, which is very popular,
Right.
And it uses a chit pool mechanic. Although in Bolt Action you have a bag of dice and you pull out the dice, and if it's a green dice, it's the Allies go. If it's a grey dice, the Germans go. So it lends itself very, very well
to solo. Yeah,
to solo. So I think on my channel, one of the things I'm going to be doing is doing a lot more miniature, as much as keep on doing the Hex and Kettle board games, which is obviously my passion. But I'm going to do a lot more miniature stuff as well. That I want to do.
Painting though, this takes up. I mean, I paint when I can, but it's not military stuff. It's stuff for my for my Ameritrash games.
Yeah,
and Shadows of Brimstone and that. And I think Meandering Mike's doing a few bits. He's got back into the painting. It's great, but it's such a time-consuming thing because you want to do it. Okay, you can use all these quick methods that everybody likes to use, but I don't know if you feel the same. I like to get his eyeballs, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it can do. I mean, some people love. I mean, I find painting miniatures like I find drawing and painting art.
It's
incredibly relaxing.
Yes,
incredibly relaxing.
Time burner. And I look up and I've painted I've painted the trousers of 3 models. And the day's gone. It's it must be my technique.
If you're painting historical stuff, you get into the sort of it helps you. It's a gateway into history. Which is a very worthwhile thing. So it has that, and you're doing research on uniforms, and the community are great, doing all that sort of stuff, and you can dip in and out different historical periods. So
I'm looking through my YouTube list because there are I know nothing about miniatures, never played miniatures. I know we've had several different guests on. We've talked about them. So I kind of watch a few of the different channels. Like Hissy Cat Studio does a lot of miniature stuff. Wardrobe does a lot of miniature stuff.
Yeah, Wardrobe does, yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the
Not Jay does a lot of
Jay. He does a lot of miniature stuff on his channel. So I go and watch these guys, and I've learned a lot by just going and listening to them talking about things. They do a lot of the time that I was watching them, they were doing a lot with the ships, which I thought were super cool.
Yep.
With all the different ship miniatures that they were painting and stuff. But here's what I found out about miniatures. Doesn't matter if it's a fantasy game, a ship game, a sub game, infantry combat game, whatever. It doesn't matter. I spend more time painting and getting them ready than I do playing the game. I have Shadows of Brimstone. I have spent 100 hours painting figures, and I've played 1 hour playing the game.
But to miniature players, painting it is probably more than half the enjoyment.
Yeah,
And playing it. It's a bit like Games Workshop stuff. People buy it to paint it, and then as an afterthought, I can play the game with it now. So, but the painting for some people is the main thing.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you can see it's like, with wardrobe is you'll hold up something and go, look at this little weeny thing you spent hours on. It looks like, and it's look at this. There's a proud moment there. And can you imagine the same if I picked up a counter and went, look at that, look at the way I've clipped that one. Look at that, that's beautiful. Wouldn't have the same thing, would it?
No.
There's the love of painting is probably just as much, if not more.
Oh my God!
In the game,
we said his name 3 times.
Oh God, he turned up.
Somebody said his name 3 times. I knew it. Holy cow! We were just mentioning miniature gaming. As soon as you talk miniatures, Not Jay shows up. Hissy Cat, I'm sure Hissy Cat's going to show up on his second.
Wardrobe will poke his head around the corner.
Wardrobe, he'll be around here in a second. And these guys, great. Go check out their channels. I don't do any miniatures on my channel. It's just, I'm not an expert at it. And here's what I learned late in life. It's taken me 57 years to figure this out. You only have so much time. If you spend X amount of time painting miniatures, that's X amount of time that you can't be doing something else.
But then that's because you love paint. See, I'll get to the
true.
stage.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying,
no.
You can't do
the stage where
like my buddy. He's a sports simmer. He does sports sims. That's what he does. That's what his channel is. He decided he was going to pick up the drums. So now he's doing drums every day on his channel. He's showing us his progress playing drums. And I'm like, that's great. And I'm all happy for you. Here's the thing. You don't have time to be good at drums and also sports gaming because you only have so much time to do things.
Yeah. The problem is if you learn an instrument and you're beginning an instrument, you see, like me, I've been playing guitar for decades. So it's, I'm not having to learn. I do learn things, but when you're learning an instrument, drums, guitar, piano, all your effort is learning, practicing. So of course other things get put to one side. But yeah, I can understand that with an instrument. But like, might be weeks go past, and then one day I'll go, I'm going to get my paints out, and that will be my day. That will be me painting, and then I'll put them away again, and it'll be another weeks because, as you say, I'm painting this, and I'm painting it because I want to play the game. But there's so many of the blooming things, as you know. If you've got a game,
that's the other thing. Yeah. I just ran my Pub Meeple. The Pub Meeple site. If you have all your games in Board Game Geek, you can download them to Pub Meeple, and you can sort them and do all kinds of fancy things. I just downloaded my 732 games.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay. This last time I checked, it was in the 6 something. So somewhere along the lines, we got a few new ones.
Are you sure you haven't had a phone call from your bank manager saying, Mr. Jester, do you realize, how much you're spending each month on this malarkey?
Yeah, it's called my wife. She walks into my room every day and she says, what the hell? So what I do is I spend, like, if you watched yesterday's videos, it was taking all of my Nightfall, which was in 5 boxes, and combining them into 2 boxes. So I got rid of 3 boxes. So I take those boxes and I said, look, I'm getting rid of these 3 games. Makes the wife happy. Gives me some extra space.
Yeah. But the thing is, you see, he has this green screen up, this thing here, because over the months and years that we've known each other, if you took that away now, it would look like the warehouse of a supermarket.
It's a GMT warehouse, yeah.
Pretty much. You'd have to move. It's like everywhere, piles everywhere. It's just getting worse.
I try not to show it off too much because, and I noticed, and I was going to mention this earlier, man, you got a wonderful bookshelf behind you. It's neat. It's organized. Looks awesome. but I don't see a single game on there. You must have a bookshelf for games elsewhere.
I do, and I have found with all these different projects, historical gaming projects I've been working on, I am spending more and more time in books, without doubt. And one of the reasons for that is partly I just love books. If I have a weakness, it's bookstores. I love books.
This used to
Absolutely.
be full of books before I took up this bloody hobby.
I love books.
Full of war books and nature books and science books and God knows what else. But
when me and Ruff first got together, which I'm going to show you.
Don't show him that picture.
I'm going to show him. When we first got together, I'm going to show you what his bookshelf looked like. Ruff. Oh, I don't know if I have it on this computer anymore.
Oh, thank God for that.
Damn.
A lot of people talking in the chat about painting minis and
let's
rewarding
see what we've been up to.
I think
we have not Jay here. We have Richard saying painting is relaxing.
It is.
It's a great thing. Meandering Mike, I love collecting a wide variety of miniature games I have not played yet.
that is a rabbit
hole. He collects them and then painting is more fun at times when playing, at least for me. So here's
there you go.
Here's what I could suggest for you guys, and I think I'm going to go right for Not Jay and Hissy Cat and those guys over there, right? So what they do is they have a live stream where they all get together and they paint and they talk and they just hang out, and talk, and it makes the time go by a lot faster. So
it's good fun. And Matt, where are the best minis made?
Oh, well, I'm from, I lived in Nottingham.
No, what country?
Well, without doubt, the UK.
The UK make the best minis. Yeah, because we've been doing it for so long.
We have. It's a long history of, I think, like most people, it started Warhammer. My kids are into Warhammer. I play Warhammer with my kids.
Went into I think I've said it before on here. I went into the first Games Workshop shop when it first opened in Hammersmith, little weeny pokey shop. But also the military miniatures. There's a few good companies that do the sort of.
Yeah, the Perrys, the Perry twins are fantastic.
All metal models as well.
So they're doing a lot of metal and plastic and a lot of Napoleonics. Not that I've mentioned Napoleonics today at all.
Napoleonics, what is that?
So there's a lot of Napoleonics, and the great thing about Napoleonics as miniatures, and I'm going to do some videos on my own Napoleonic collection, is when you get a great big gaming board, and I've converted the garage into a miniature wargaming room. I've got a 8 foot by 6 foot.
Sorry, American viewers, garage. Sorry, garage.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I was just going to say, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Does anyone understand what the hell he's talking
garage?
about?
We say garage.
Garage. And when you've got thousands of miniatures on an army, with all the colours. I mean, not just the colours of miniature. Sorry, I mean all the banners. What I call the colours,
the scenery, and all that.
Scenery, the model making aspects of it. It looks incredible. If you go to, I don't know if you've ever been rough to Salute in London, the big miniature wargaming show. It looks amazing. The games look amazing, whether they're 28mm or 6mm, no matter what scale you have.
That's the thing. All the cons, all the game cons, or the military game cons over here were all miniatures.
Miniatures, yeah.
But the only one we've got now is I believe is PunchCon, which I went to my first con last year. Great fun. All board games, sat playing board games.
Was that in Coventry?
Coventry, yeah. I recommend you go if you can next year, Matt. It's great fun. After breakfast, in you go, playing games till
that's awesome.
Never. Yeah, 2:00 in the morning. It's
crazy.
Awesome.
But
let's let Ruff. If you're going to share your screen, so we can narrow down some of those screenshots. So Ruff has decided to let people.
Yeah, what a fool!
Decide what game he should actually play. Now, of course, we're talking about Ruff Swordsman, so it's one episode every other month, so it might take a while. So don't expect it to be fast or anything. But
hold on, I don't know where. Hold on, I think I've got to open them. Let's open that one. And then, yeah, I know, because I'm not illiterate, am I? Computer illiterate, I meant. I am illiterate, computer illiterate.
And then once we get done with that,
Right, here's the first
so,
one.
Oh, you got one? There you go. All right. So what we're supposed to do is pick out one game that
There's three, yeah.
we would like you to play, huh?
Yeah, and then there's this one.
Yeah. These are not all games you haven't played, though, are they, Ruff? Surely.
No, I've played some of them. I don't mind playing again. And then there's this one. These have got some of the older games on it.
I know which game I'm voting for, just because I sent it to you and you never played it.
It can't be the black and the colorblind one. And then there's those. That one I've got a print and play version of it. That's Rifles in the Ardennes, and that's Tally Ho from Thomas at Historic Wings. And here's the get out of the door, get out of the door. Yeah, wait, right. So there's the games there. I don't know if there's anything that people are interested in seeing me play. Say some of them I've played, of course, but let me know what you think. And then I'll gather those up if there's more than one suggestion and put them in a poll.
Oh, there'll be more than one suggestion, I'm sure. People can't agree on anything.
No, that's why I said let you know.
I think you should play Banish the Snakes.
I was going to say SBQR, Kevin, as well. That's what I'd have picked.
Oh, yeah. Kevin says SBQR. Oh, Extra Squeaky says Cat Leader.
I know, bloody thing.
Play the Dark Summer. ASL Starter Kit. I voted for Tiger Leader. Zero Leader was a vote.
Another I've done those. They're on the other channel. I'll do them again if they want. Yeah.
Silent Victory.
All right. Okay, I'll make a note of these because Not Jay's playing the Hunters at the moment.
Oh, Rudy wants Knock Paris.
Yeah.
He wants something good. Oh, Spruance Leader, but Covey wants Spruance Leader.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll look through, gather up all the things, and make a little poll on the Tack Up, and you can vote on there. So if you haven't joined Tack Up,
if you are not part of our Facebook group, for shame, because most everything we do, we talk about is there.
Let me
Tack Up Wargaming on Facebook and Sim World.
Copy and
so we can actually.
There we are. I'll just put the Facebook thing up there.
Oh, there you go. That is our number 64123 652 5893.
Yeah, of course, it has to be.
So
I thought I hid that from the camera, Mike, but you saw.
Question for you, Ruff. Have you played a baseball game now?
Yes. That's all I blooming do. Look, I've got the 2022 season because for season ticket thing. Season ticket's the one I like because also what you said that because I watched a match the other day and they've traded somebody in that's not been in the game before. He's just turned up. Who is he? Yeah. The number one starting pitcher.
Yeah.
So season ticket seems to put everybody in who's had a game. So that's why you get like a load for each team. So I'm going to stick with that. And I've got Digital Diamond. And that's great fun because you can sit there and play the game. And I've even got a little die roller. So I can click my dice and look at the thing and tap it in. And it moves around the pitch. It's brilliant. And it will keep all the... Mano's fan, look. I'm surprised you don't know Coy.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I had to pick a team. So there we are. We're top of the league.
So me and Tony tried to convince Ruff to play some baseball, and he laughed at us. He ignored us. He
For
picked
years.
up a book. He's reading,
Yeah.
like. And
then
now
suddenly-
look at him. Now he's giving us the ins and outs.
Yeah.
What
5
is
minutes
this?
in.
What
But
is
it's
this
been fun.
baseball thing, Ruff? What is this baseball thing? I don't know what this is.
It's rounders.
Oh, it's like rounders.
Rounders. It's like rounders.
Oh, okay.
Just think rounders. You know what the kids play.
Have you been to see a game?
No, I've only just got into it. It's only been the last month or so that I watched. I watched a couple of videos and I thought, all right, I'll give it a go. And I watched some old matches on YouTube and I thought, this looks fun. Anyway, so I've got into it. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy playing the game.
That's
Yeah. We saw you off, didn't we? Old Toronto.
He's going to start talking some smack now. Here's the thing. The Baltimore Orioles have been on the bottom of the league for like 10 years.
Yeah. I
They made
started
some very
supporting them.
unwise decisions on who they were keeping and how much money they were going to pay them. And so they just haven't had money to get anybody for a long, long time. Chris Davis contract, $64 million was one of the worst signings in baseball history. And I think it was for 8 years. So anyways, you only have so much money. You spend it on guys that stink. You're going to stink. They've been stinking for a long time. Now all of a sudden, they get a couple new guys in.
I support them, and they're top of the league. Gunnar
Yeah.
Henderson. Oh, Santander. Fantastic.
There we go. His Cat showed up. He heard we were talking about him and decided to show up.
So anyway, yes. So sorry about that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, back at
the ranch. So Hissy Cat Studios, he did something really cool from January to March 31st. You had 3 months to design your own postcard game. It was called Postcards at the Front. Matt, you should have done that. You should have designed a game and submitted it. And he had like 47 submissions. It was crazy how many people got involved in this project. It was just a whim, like a thing he thought about doing. And then all of a sudden, we kind of announced it on our show a couple times and got a lot of people involved in it. And it turned into a big thing.
Even David Thompson designed one, didn't he?
David Thompson designed a game.
Yeah, I saw that he did that. Yeah, that's cool. That sounds great. Sounds like work, but yes, sounds good.
It was a lot of work. You could have done, what you should have done was not tell anyone about your game and then submitted that one.
Oh, yeah, just have one in the bag and go, oh, yeah, by the way, here's one. Do you know what I mean? I'll do that.
So you've done some artwork recently. You can see your beautiful artwork on the wall back there. Last year, you were supposed to send it to me, and you didn't do it for some reason. But that back there on your wall is some beautiful artwork there.
Thank you. That's very kind.
But you've done some new stuff that we can share.
Yes, we can have a look at that if you share the necessaries.
I think we shall find it necessary to talk about it.
Oh, that's cool. So what you're looking at here, this is the cover art for British Tankcase. That's Greg M. Smith's latest game in the sort of Tankcase series of games that he's doing. So I worked with Greg on the cover for that. That took quite a bit of time. I'd drawn quite a few different British armour over the years before, but I wanted to try and get something where the colour of the armour matched the colour of the sky and it all kind of worked together. So that took quite a bit of time, but it was good fun. Greg is great to work with. He's extremely knowledgeable about World War II armour, compass as well.
Is that a Crusader?
It's Cromwell.
It's a Cromwell. Okay.
Yeah, it just looks like a clunky old First World War tank, doesn't it? All those bits sticking out of it. And
yeah, I am not a British tank expert. In fact, I'm not a tank expert at all. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they take quite a long time to get all the detail correct and try and put a little bit of asymmetry in there. Always interested. So it's got one of the forget what they call them, but one of the devices for the metal ropes is missing. Just add a little bit of detail, just sort of try and put
Right,
the symmetry
right,
off,
right.
little technique. Yeah, it's good. It was good fun. I think Greg always alludes that he would like to do a German tank case. So I'm looking forward to doing more covers for him.
You did the American tank case.
I did the American tank case. Yeah, I put that up. Put that up on my shelf. That's a easy. It's an easy 8 for that. That's the American tank case cover that I did for that one. That was up for Charlie. This game that Greg designed.
Oh, right, right.
Which was great. So
Is there? I can't remember. Is there an art category?
I don't think there is.
Charlie, there isn't an art category. There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. Well, I'm gonna push this year for.
I thought there was a best cover. Wasn't that last? Was that last year? Best cover art.
I think there has been in the past, but I don't recall seeing one. I don't recall.
Yeah,
I don't recall voting for one.
We need to recognize our artists for the war game industry because I think it's important, and I'm going to push for that. That's going to be one of my goals this year, Matt, is to get that added.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The Charlie.
Right, 2 years ago was it?
Yeah,
but that makes you buy the game, doesn't it? The cover makes you buy the game. You pick up the game. Oh, this looks good.
Yeah, so I think if the cover sort of evokes the right emotion that the game's trying to evoke as well, if it's all tied together, I think that can be very powerful. You know, I remember being, they do say don't judge a book by its cover, but we can't help but do so. We all have our favorite war game covers that we like.
Right, absolutely. And some of them are beautiful enough you want to like frame them and put them on your wall.
Yeah, that's always been, I suppose, I've always tried to do cover art that evokes that sort of that response from people. They go, wow, this looks really awesome. I want to learn more about the game. I want to play the game. It's interesting. It's evocative in some manner, and it's reflective of the history. That's important. That's really important to me. So
I think last year you were supposed to send me a signed copy that we were going to give away.
I'll do your signed copy. It's no problem.
That's right.
No problem
so you can send me a copy and then send one for us to donate. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, whatever.
You could just send me one, donate one to me, and put on my wall. Thanks. Right.
Yeah, absolutely top notch. Great artwork. And there is obviously we looked at we had an interview this week with Herman, and of course we looked at the Matt Barber map.
Yeah,
which was really good. There's just so many good artists that we need to get. There needs to be at least a category, right?
Yeah, that would be great
to recognize the people that put all the time and effort into their art. And art is, as Ruff said, super important because when I look at a box cover, and I did this last week or 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? I ripped GMT for this box art cover for this game called. Oh, I got to add to the stream here.
Sorry.
Just have a look. This one here, the Plantagent. For me, this is just a boring cover that really doesn't tell me what the game is about. It doesn't make me want to play this game. It doesn't make me want to buy this game, even though I did buy it because I'm dumb. It's just, art is important. When you set this game up on your table and you're at a convention or whatever, and people walk by and they look and they go, wow, they stop because they want to see what this is. That's important stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That cover was just Matt. You should have done a cover for them. Come on.
I haven't. To be fair, I haven't. It's really interesting. The publishers that reach out to me and those that don't. I've got a lot of. I'm very thankful to a lot of people that I've worked with on different published games by other publishers rather than games that I just published myself. In particular. Uwe at Academy. Uwe was the first person that ever reached out and said, I'd love to feature your art in Conflict of Heroes. and I'm a
Are
big
you
fan
in
of.
Conflict of Heroes?
Yeah, sure. So it's.
I think the reason is with GMT, Matt, is because of Roger, but now he's left, so you might get a phone call.
Yeah, I mean that would be. I'm always open to.
Yeah.
So I've got the latest third edition.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
the third edition. Yeah.
And then Uwe literally out of the blue said, "Hey, my name's Uwe. I work at this company called Academy Games." And I was like, "Well, I know your games because I love your games. I love the all the sort of 17. I forget the Birth of America series.
Yeah.
I love playing those, and Conflict of Heroes I loved. So yeah, so I was very thankful to him, David Thompson as well. David Thompson. The thing about my work, I don't really go out and go, hey, I could do the art for you.
Mhm.
But what I will do is if people contact me and say, hey, would you be interested in this project? Most projects, it's more about the bandwidth. If I've got bandwidth, invariably will go, yeah, great, I'll do it.
Wow.
Yeah, Castle. It's so David Thompson. He
Did
reached
you
out.
do,
No, I didn't do Pavlov's.
do that one because that doesn't look like one of yours, does it? That does.
No, I did it, and I did a lot of the art on postmen in soldiers in postmen uniforms.
Ooh, cool. Yeah.
Which is about the Danzig post office. Hissy Cat Bills is asking me, what do I think about AI art?
So yeah, this I didn't even know this is a thing, but now all of a sudden, I've seen several videos pop up about people talking about it, and I'm like, what is AI? I didn't even know there was such a thing. Talk to us. What's going on?
So it's not something I've looked too much into. I mean, obviously, my opinion is going to be if it's not created by a person, in my opinion, then it's not art with a slightly pretentious, I know, but with a capital A.
Goes into it, doesn't it, Matt? But if your soul goes into it,
yeah, art it's all about, for me anyway, as an artist, it's all about the emotion you're putting into a piece that you want your viewer to feel, and that can be straightforward emotions like, oh, that looks awesome, or that that's intriguing, or that's compelling, or I want to learn more, or that's reflective, or something.
This is creeping into life now, because isn't it the old who gives a monkeys though? But the Screenwriters Guild have gone on strike because people are writing scripts with AI.
Yeah, sure.
Getting away with it, and I suspect that they're doing the same with art and music.
Yeah,
and I think we've got to say, hold on a minute. My personal view, we've got to hold on. Let living things do it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't have a place.
Yeah,
but it's not art, in my opinion. It's something else.
Although talking about Hollywood, I think an AI could do probably much better than the stuff that's coming out at the moment. Anyway, So yeah, so for example, working with David, working with Greg. But yeah, I tell you not. David Thompson not only the best looking game designer on the planet, but is he? Don't tell me he's a nice chap as well.
He's unbelievably nice.
God, I hate him. I hate people. No, he's a nice bloke, isn't he?
He's a really nice bloke.
It's like he's got the good looks, he's got the good personality, and he's got good ideas, and he's creative. I mean, it's like he just makes the rest of us look bad, right?
Yeah.
He just makes the rest of us look bad.
The thing I like working with on David's project is that he thinks really deeply about his games and about the history that his game's covering. And he's one of the designers that I've worked with where he's very, he's very thorough in his research. And I always he wants to do well by the game, not just for the game, but also the reflection on the period of history, which is always super important to me. He
doesn't turn on a game just to turn on a game. He turns on a game so people will enjoy and play the game.
Yeah, and a lot of his, as we all know, a lot of his designs are very innovative for the wargaming space and quite different for the wargaming space, and they firmly have their place. So yeah, he is absolutely fantastic to work with. I've been very lucky at and it's probably, it's probably fair to say I've done the art for several of Uva's games for Academy.
I'll tell you what, who not to work with, because from what I hear, he's a nightmare. But that's Herman Luckman.
I can well imagine.
Don't work with him. All right. Only joking, Herman. I love you.
No, I'm joking.
And I noticed Ruff didn't talk about Herman being the best looking guy in designer either. So Herman,
Well, we know our place. Just one look at David Thompson. I mean, hate it.
there should be an art category. I'm not sure there should be a category for best looking game designer.
No, he'd win it every year. No, there's no contest.
Get over your man crush, Ruff. Get over your man crush.
He's also.
Did anything happen today in history?
Not a lot, but I'll go through it.
All right, why don't you go through it? So we
All
have
right.
this little segment where we talk about things that happened today in history. And Ruff, at 95% of them, they're British, so
Of
you'll
course, 'cause we got the
understand
most-
most of the stuff he's talking about today.
We've got 2,000 years of it. Of course, it's going to be mostly British. Anyway, 5th of August, 642. The Battle of Maserfield, now widely identified as Oswestry, if I pronounce that right, which is in Shropshire, close to the Welsh border, between the Anglo-Saxon kings Oswald of Northumbria, which is sort of northern-ish England, and Penda of Mercia, which is was the Midlands. The battle ended in Oswald's defeat, death, and dismemberment. 642. 910. The last major Viking army to raid England was defeated at the Battle of Tenterhall by the Allied forces of Mercia and Wessex, which was a bit along the bottom, led by King Edward and Earl Ethelred. Coming a bit more closer to home, 1305. The First Scottish War of Independence. Sir John Stewart of Menteith, the pro-English sheriff of Dumbarton, successfully manages to capture Sir William Wallace of Scotland, leading to Wallace's subsequent execution by hanging, evisceration, drawing and quartering, and beheading 18 days later. He died 6 months later. No, he died. He died when he was hanged. All right, sorry. Okay, being silly. 1583. English soldier and navigator Sir Humphrey Gilbert, who was the half-brother of Sir Walter Raleigh, established the first English colony in North America at what now is St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, and claimed it for Elizabeth I. 1620. The Mayflower departed from Southampton on its first attempt to reach North America, but the sister ship, the Speedwell, developed a leak. It had to be refitted at Dartmouth, which is down the road from me, and after further leaks or possible sabotage, the Mayflower made the 60-day crossing alone. Over to your side of the pond now, 1763, the Pontiac War, the Battle of Bushy Run. British forces led by Henry Bosanquet defeated Chief Pontiac's Indians at Bushy Run. The Pontiac War, also known as the Pontiac Conspiracy or Pontiac's Rebellion, was launched in 1763 by a loose confederation of Native Americans who were dissatisfied with British rule in the Great Lakes region following the French and Indian War. Warriors from numerous nations joined in an effort to drive British soldiers and settlers out of the region. The war is named after an Odawa leader, Pontiac, the most prominent of many indigenous leaders in the conflict. The Battle of Bushy Run, part of the Pontiac War, fought today and tomorrow, 1763, in western Pennsylvania between a British column under the command of Colonel Henry Bosanquet and a combined force of Delaware, Shawnee, Mingo, and Huron warriors. This action occurred during Pontiac's rebellion. Though the British suffered serious losses, they routed the tribesmen and successfully relieved the garrison at Fort Pitt. And then 1861, the good old American Civil War. In order to help pay for the war effort, the United States government levies the first income tax as part of the Revenue Act of 1861. 3% of all incomes over $800 US. This was rescinded in 1872. Also in 1861, the United States Army abolishes flogging. In the British Army, the use of all corporal punishment was abolished as part of the 1881 Childers reforms. So we enjoy it for another 20 years. 1862, American Civil War, Battle of Baton Rouge, along the Mississippi River near Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Confederate troops attempt to take the city, but are driven back by fire from Union gunboats. Again, 1864, in the American Civil War, the Battle of how do you pronounce Mobile? We pronounce it Mobile. You pronounce it Mobile?
Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama, yeah. Mobile, near Mobile Bay, near Mobile, Alabama. Admiral David Farragut leads a Union flotilla through Confederate defenses and seals one of the last major southern ports. And then fast forward to the World War I, 1914, the guns of Point Nepean fought at Port Phillip's Heads in Victoria, Australia, fire across the bows of the Norddeutscher Lloyd steamer SS Pfalz, which is attempting to leave the port of Melbourne in ignorance of the declaration of war, and she is detained. This is said to be the first Allied shot in the war. And in 1916, World War I, of course, the Battle of Romani, Allied forces under the command of Archibald Murray defeat an attacking Ottoman army under the command of Frederick Freiherr Crest von Kressenstein, sounds like something out of Blackadder, securing the Suez Canal and beginning the Ottoman retreat from the Sinai Peninsula. And lastly, 1963, couldn't find nothing that happened today in the World War II. Possibly there was, but I couldn't find anything. But in 1963, a nuclear test ban treaty was signed in Moscow by Russia, the United States, and Britain. Under the treaty, nuclear tests in the Earth's atmosphere, in space, or under the sea were outlawed. Today, 5th of August. Good grief.
There you go.
Great. Now, I'm thinking of a game, Matt.
Oh.
I got a game. It's in my brain. You ever play 20 Guesses?
No. Has it got
Okay,
panties in it?
You're going to ask me a question, and I'm going to say yes or no, and you're going to try and guess what game I'm thinking of within 20 guesses.
The question's got to be a yes or no answer.
Yeah, so you will say something like, did this game take place in 1500 or later? And I would say yes, and then you would know it's not probably Command and Color Ancients because that wouldn't fit it in that group. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Don't worry, Matt.
So,
we're crap at this. Don't worry.
This is a layup. This is so easy. If you don't get this within 5, I'm going to be ashamed. All right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is it a war game?
Well, of course, it's a war game. Well, I guess it depends on who you talk to, because some people do not classify this as a war game.
Is it coin?
Oh, no, hold on.
Oh, no, you're going to wait. Ralph gets to ask a question.
Oh, sorry.
It's alternate.
We're going to go back and forth to
It's
see.
all right.
And
I'm
see,
rubbish anyway.
and Covey's got it right here. Normally, it's 47 or so guesses for them.
Yeah, thanks.
This is a layup. I told everyone this is a layup. This is so easy. Ruff, what do you got?
Do I own this game?
No, you do not own this game.
Right.
Is it a coin game?
It is not a coin game. No. That's a good guess, but no.
Well, I don't know. I don't think he's been sarcastic by saying, "Oh, it's not a war game" by some people, because they like to call them historical conflicts now, don't they? Is it after 1938?
Yes.
He always says this is so easy. Of course,
It's so easy. It's so easy.
because he's thought of it.
Is it? Is it a period of history that happened?
Yes. So it's not like a fantasy or like a futuristic. Yes, it is. Yes, it is based upon actual real life things. Yes.
Is it a World War II land battle?
No.
Right.
Is it published by GMT?
Yes. Ruff is thinking about every GMT game he doesn't own.
Which is quite a few. Is it a sea battle game?
No.
Right.
Is it about, or is it about a world leader?
No. Not about a world leader.
Is it an air war game?
No.
So it's not land, it's not sea, it's not air. Oh, well, sea would be submarines, wouldn't it? Not looked on as a
This is a
war.
layup. This is a layup, boys.
It's
Come
you.
on.
It's you.
Oh my gosh. This is a layup.
I did say it was the Second World War, didn't we, or did I not?
It's after 1938. It is after 1938, and it's historical.
And it's not a World War II land battle.
And not a sea battle or an air battle or an air game. Yeah. A GMT game.
This is a layup, man. This is a layup. That's your clue. That's how easy it is. It's a layup.
TS. What's my
Who's
gun?
question? Who's guess?
Matt's, I think.
Matt's guess? All
Oh,
right,
is it
Matt.
my game? I thought it was yours, actually, Ruff.
Sorry, I think it's I think it's you. Because I said, is it an air war game?
And see, Kyle's saying, is it Churchill? But it can't be, because I asked him if it was a leader. Was it about a leader? So it can't be Gandhi, or it can't be Mr. President, or whatever that game's called, and Churchill and things like that. It's not a coin.
Oh, right.
You can jump in, Ruff, if you think you know it.
No, I don't think I know it, but have your guess.
I'm going to pass.
He's gonna pass. Okay.
Is it a game you've played recently?
Of course, it's a game I played recently.
No, I mean recently.
Of course, it's a game I played recently. So if you follow my channel, you would know what I'm talking about. Maybe narrow down the time frame if you're not sure. You know, it's between 1938 and 2023.
Yeah. I just can't remember what the bloody game's called. Oh, yeah, I do now. Yeah. Do you want me to guess it? Or do you want to go, Matt?
No, you go for it, man.
Twilight Struggle?
Is it Twilight Struggle? Is that your guess?
Yeah.
Yes, of course it is Twilight Struggle. It's a layup. It
Yeah,
is
I know,
DMT's
I
most
know.
popular game in history.
I know where I went wrong. I said after 1938. I didn't say, is it World War II game? You go, no. So, yeah.
Very good. This is Diablo.
Banish the Cold War
Diablo.
snakes. That's what I should have
And
said.
it's a Cold War Snakes. Yeah, there you go.
Ah,
That was a layup. That was so easy. It's their most popular. I thought for sure when you guys were, and just so you know, at 5:26, it is now 5:29. Mike Butterjelly already had it. So
That's great. I've never played it to be.
You never
No,
played
I haven't.
Twilight Struggle. Okay, I was going to
No.
ask you about that. So that's kind of why I chose it, because I know you kind of focus in on historical simulation games. You like replaying battles and stuff. Do you ever do any of the coin games? Do you do
No.
any of the Twilight Struggle
No.
or anything like that? No, you don't do any of that. Okay.
No. And I think one of the I think I've always felt this with war games. One of the struggles that the hobby has, if we call it that, is that the just discoverability of games is quite hard, right? You have to buy it, for most people, certainly for myself, you can't, if you want to try out a game, it means you've got to buy it, right? You can get some sense of it from, the YouTubers and whatnot. But if you just want to try it, you have to buy it, and that's not a criticism of war gaming. So I'm sure there are millions of games out there that I would love if I tried them, but it's a cost prohibitive,
Right.
So I will always kind of go. Games in the UK, like we said earlier, they're not cheap.
No.
So you're gonna spend your money on things you think you're gonna like based on the things you have played and tried. Do you know what I mean? So no, I've never played a coin game. I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of war games. Never played a coin.
I've got the first one to play.
Is it just because you just don't think it'll be interesting, or just because I only have so much time? It's this time versus.
It's
Yes.
To Mike's point, I agree with that, Mike. Completely, you can try things on Vassal.
You can try on Vassal. Some
I think that's
on Vassal.
but
a lot of times you need the rule books or you need the charts or whatever.
You need to play with somebody that's got all the bits and pieces.
Yeah, I agree. For me, and again, I know there's lots of other tabletop gamers the same. Part of the attraction of wargaming and tabletop gaming, miniatures and board games, is that you don't have a computer screen. I can sit in front of a computer screen all day, probably for too many hours. So I've never played anything on Vassal. And it's not that I think it shouldn't. I think it's really good, and I think it's great that people play on Vassal. I think it's brilliant. It's just not for me.
It's a necessary evil for me. I'm getting more and more sort of converted over to it because needs must, and I couldn't play with Tony, couldn't play with Jester and everybody else and play games and tweeze and that. So it's a necessary evil, and I'm getting a bit more friendly towards it. But what they should do, remember in the old days, the computer magazines or the games magazines used to have a CD on the front. We have a demo.
Yeah, sure.
Play the game. Maybe GMT should bring out demos. Not give you everything. Give you a few counters. And I think
that's absolutely right, Ruff. With one of my own games, I did a tactical game called Until the Bitter End, and I gave away during the pandemic, especially when the pandemic first hit.
You got the freebie with the plane, didn't you? With the decoder.
I gave everyone a free scenario, a free copy of the rules, the counters. It was print and play, so you had to make it yourself, but it didn't cost you. It was just free, and it was just because It's always a frustration of mine within the hobby. It's so discoverability is so hard.
Yeah, it does work with print and play games. I mean, your game worked. You could download it for free. And as I know, quickly mentioned the baseball game, season ticket baseball. You can download that for free, and they give you 8 teams you can print off and get you going. See if you like it. Fantastic. That's what I'm not sure how board games could do it. Give you a little bit of a map and 6 counters.
It's harder.
I know it must be, but
it's harder, right?
It's almost like let's just take say the Russian campaign as an example, right? Because this just happened. Like, how would you give people just like section of the map, section of the counters? It would just be, and then you would have to give them like all the rules, right, to play. And I don't know how to do it.
They do it sort of through Vassal, but then again, not everybody likes Vassal.
Yeah.
But I agree with part of what you're saying, Matt, is our industry. And when we talk about our industry, we're talking about wargaming, right?
Yeah.
Is there is a lot of issues that need to be addressed as a whole for all of us as wargamers, right? When we have we have awards and we give out awards to people, and this it should be a big deal. People should talk about it. People should interview those people and talk about the awards they won, and Board Game Geek should list all the awards for people. So when non-war gamers go there, they can look at the list and go, "Oh, look, Wargaming had a awards again. All these games won. Maybe I should. Oh, look, this game won War Game of the Year. Maybe I should try it out." I mean,
yeah, accolades will work, right? As a device, people see that a game gets a lot of attention.
2023 is not like it used to be. Like to get noticed now, like 10 years, 20 years ago, like I was teaching photography, and I would go around this school and take pictures of people, and they would hate it and they would shy away and everything. 2023 now, when I was going around taking pictures, kids were jumping out like, "Hey, take a picture of me, take a picture of me."
Funny face.
It's all about self-promotion nowadays. And wargaming, unfortunately, is lacking in self-promotion.
Yeah, I think there could be a few things to talk about in relation to that. I think predominantly, I think it's because war games are made, designed, and somewhat production by people who inherently are the creatives behind those things. And the thing I've learned from working in video games, working in films, is by their nature, those people tend not to be the sort of people that like promoting their work, right? It's why you have large groups of marketeers and things like that. We're not naturally so inclined to want to do that or enjoy doing that,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think there's one thing there. I think in answer to your question about what should war games do to help accessibility, help into the hobby. I think that, for example, Lock and Load do a starter kit for their Nations of War.
Lock and Load Tactical and World at War 85.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool and really quite innovative. And then I think the other thing, what I would love to see, it'd be a nightmare to organise, is for multiple wargaming publishers to get together and release a quarterly compendium, as it were, of here's examples of loads of our mechanics and games with counter sheet of different counters from different games. And that way you could buy that for a small amount and just try out the mechanic or something interesting.
I mean, a lot of the magazines are all done by a company, like
by one company.
Tactics. I know C3I isn't to do with GMT games, but they used to put the counters in and all that.
Yeah, and Kevin's making a good point. OSG do a starter. So the Operational Studies Group, their games are really expensive, right? Here in the UK, they're like £110, £120. That's a lot of money, right? But they they release a smaller game. It's just one smaller battle for like £30 or £40. So your investment,
what it's like.
So you can see what it's like, and therefore you're more likely. And I agree. Yeah, a starter kit ASL is exactly
they're 20, 25 quid.
25 quid.
Yeah, and you get a lot of game in it. You get a lot of scenarios and everything in it. Can I just? I know I'm thinking. Carl's asked a question about your games. Can you still get hold of them?
You can, absolutely, you can. If you would like to try out the free sort of game version that I did for the during the pandemic.
There is, because I've got them all, but then my computer went bust and lost them all. So I might.
Yeah, you can. That free version is on Board Game Geek until the bitter end. And all the files are there on Board Game Geek.
Can you still get all the games you've designed?
Yeah, if you've lost your files, they still exist. You just ping me and I'll send you the link.
No, I mean, can somebody get them?
Yeah, they can buy them all.
To you,
yeah. Just ping me. People do ping me out of the blue and say, "Hey, I'm interested in one of your games," and no problem. So
there you go, Carl.
Yeah, anything you need, just.
And how can they contact you?
Board Game Geek is probably the best way.
Right.
Or my Facebook page. or my YouTube channel.
Do you know what? That's the first banner I've seen on Board Game Geek for a war game, or this coin game. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, I saw some GMT stuff on BGG today, actually, on as a banner. Yeah, it's no problem, Carl. No problem at all.
Yeah, check out obviously Until the
Counters
Bitter End
great.
there on
Counters
Board Game
great.
Geek, and I think you can even link to Matt through there.
Yeah,
Send
Yeah,
him a
you can.
message or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that, and that's why I'm sure there are many war games that many of us would enjoy, but they're all a
It's
significant-
availability, it's knowledge, it's under, and it's knowing about them, right? It's
Yeah. yeah,
there are
discoverability.
games
what I
that
call
I
it.
hadn't even heard of. I hadn't heard of VUCA Simulations until Ruff had talked about them a couple months, about a year
Yeah.
ago or whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I had never heard of them
but,
because they're just not over here. They're not.
Yeah,
they are now because they've got their own shipping
Yeah.
distribution point in Texas. But yeah,
Yeah.
Arkham was the first game that they sent me, and I contacted them. I said, "Yeah," and they did, and that's I've been sort of buddies, with them. A great game, great components and everything. But nobody
they're
had
great.
heard of them. They're just
They're
starting
great
out.
stuff.
That's when they were called Teutonic.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we have IT just? Shall we have a look at some of the art?
Yes.
Before-
Absolutely. If you got some more to share, let's do it.
if you click on that
This one here?
share,
Okay.
yeah, and just do you want me to go through them? That's probably the best.
It's, does anyone want to see some more art from Matt White? Anyone out there?
This is a Flak Panzer. This is a piece of art I did for a new game that I'm working on, which is about American P-47s. So this is an illustration that I did for that. This is, let me just click on it. This is counter art for that game. In this game, I'm still developing this game at the minute. It's a solitaire game. You command a flight of 4 aircraft, air-to-ground aircraft, and it's a sort of solitaire narrative-led game. So these are some of the counters for the aircraft. This is a piece of art I did for it. This is
That's a nice one. I like that. Yeah.
This is a bubble top jug.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the jug plane. One of my favourite planes of World War II. This
You don't see that one very often either. So that's
no,
cool.
you don't. And it's extremely interesting plane because I live here in Lincolnshire, where a lot of the United States Air Force.
Don't you mean Lancashire?
That's how
No.
they would say it. Sorry, you got to translate. Lincolnshire.
And we border onto Suffolk and Norfolk, where there are a lot of United States of America Air Force bases. So we've got there's a long history between the US and the British for World War II for the locations. This is a M3 Stuart that I did. This is one of the most recent tanks that I've done. That's sort of a work in progress screenshot. And this is actually a screen grab from the software that I create the artwork in.
Well, the other thing is, and Rolf asked this, but I think it's interesting. You don't do paints; you do it all digitally, right?
Yeah, I paint digitally because it's effectively. Let me just see if you can see this. I paint with one of these. It's called a Wacom tablet. It's a small, like A5 tablet, and it has a pen.
That's it.
And,
Show it again, Matt.
Yeah, let's see that again.
It's just this.
So it's just like, and then you just draw on it like you would just. Okay.
You just draw like this.
Okay.
So it's a little bit abstract because you're drawing on this, not on a canvas, but it's exactly the same thing. And what it means is that you don't have. This cost me like 50 quid off Amazon, and I use free software. Whereas when you're painting with oils, which is probably what I would paint in, or with acrylics, they're expensive, and I've got little children, and if I leave paints out, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So and it means that I can paint in, I can produce, the volume of work that I like to produce. So I paint and draw certainly every week, I draw something.
So that bubble top you've got there,
yeah, sure.
how long
Yeah.
would that take?
This one was fairly straightforward. But that would probably, at my pace, that would probably take me like a month, I guess, something like that. But I'm not drawing 12 hours a day.
A couple of hours a day sort of thing? Or
Yeah, a couple of hours a day, maybe a bit more at the weekend. There is one piece I'm going to show in a minute that has taken a very long
would
time.
say maybe like even the turret there, the one next. It's got
Yeah, the
more
M3.
detail.
The M3 Stuart is fairly straightforward because I've drawn a lot of Allied tanks before, so I've got all my palettes worked out. I know the color scheme,
the color scheme you want,
that I want for the lighting conditions that I want, and it's got some detail that was quite tricky. Generally speaking, the Allied tanks are much easier to draw and paint than the German stuff, predominantly because the German would have camo and weathered camo. And they had Zimmerit, which is that sort of paste that they've put on the tank. And because the paste has depth to it, so I've looked at the paste in detail in museums and whatnot. Because the paste has deep depth into it, you want to get all the lighting in the paint. It's a nightmare.
Well, in the M3, you've got a bit on the front there. On the front armor, you've got loads of little bits and knobbly.
Yeah, there's loads of rivets and bits and pieces like that. That does take quite a long time. So, for example, that's the M3 is a finished piece. And if you can see my signature in the bottom right, if I was drawing this on a canvas, the canvas would be about 6 foot, probably by about 5 foot. That's
wow.
To get that detail in.
To get that detail in, yeah.
And as not Jay says, you don't have to wait for it to dry, do you? So
you don't have to wait for it. No, thank goodness for that.
Yeah,
and
that's coming from a miniatures painter there.
Yeah.
You can also, with digital art, you can paint any color over any color, and you can change the opacity, which as an artist gives you a lot more freedom.
Oh, so you can sort of bring it forward and back as much as you want.
As it were. And you'll paint in layers. So you're painting on top of it, on top to build up the detail. And with my art, I leave all my pencil sketches. So if you really look at my art, I might be able to show you one. You can still see all the pencil sketches. For example, there with that aircraft, that you can see the pencil lines on the right hand side of the wing, and then you're colouring in, as it were, painting in all the colour and all the detail.
You're basically filling in a coloring book. You're painting in between the lines.
It's very relaxing. I find it very relaxing. This is a test cover for Would Be Aces, which is the next game that I'm working on at the minute. This will be.
Remember you talking about this last time you were?
Yeah, on? I've been cooking this one for quite a while. This is this will be a print and play game, like all of my games. It'll be very, very inexpensive. Basically, try to cover the cost of my Photoshop license. And Solitaire, commanding a flight of P-47s.
Sorry, extra squeak. He's just called you. You could be the Bob Ross of Wargame. That's a nice compliment.
And this is the next thing I'm going to show you is a brand new piece of art that I've been working on. No one's seen it before except for my.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we getting a world premiere, Matt?
You do. It's only a bit of art.
Wow, we get a world premiere every week on this channel.
You get a lot of them.
Awesome. And I'm going to show it in sort of stages. So it's the same aircraft, but from a different composition. This example here is just in the software that you're seeing it here, and you can probably see, and I'll share these on I'll put all these on the Facebook group afterwards, so people can inspect them in the detail. And then slightly sort of panned out here, it's the same piece. And then the piece that's in progress, I'm just finishing up, is a parked aircraft here. And that has taken months. It's taken a very long time because of the composition and getting the angles right.
I was going to say, is it because of the angle and all that?
The angles. Yeah, it's the angles. They're very tricky. And checkers, for example.
A round thing, yeah.
Yeah, and a round thing. And so you're using a lot of, obviously using a lot of reference. So, for example, with the P47, P47 Thunderbolt Illustrated, this is an excellent book. The amount of books I've got on the P47, operational records. So I'm using this to help design some of the game. More books. This is a brilliant book. The cover's really dull, but this first-hand accounts. I read a lot of first-hand accounts from the pilots.
I think you should have done the cover for that, because I'd pick that up and go, "What the heck's that?
What the heck is this?" This is Martin
do a cover for
Davies,
that one, Matt. Do a cover for that one.
Thunderbolt, and there are many first-hand account books that I've read on the Thunderbolt. I like to sort of get into the.
Make sure to draw the reflections in the water as they explode in color.
The interesting thing with these airplanes is that the devastation they could cause on the enemy was phenomenal. I mean, these things, they had 850 cal guns in the wings. They had rockets. They had bombs. And they blew the living daylights out of their targets. And there are accounts of pilots who were shot down or they had a problem with their plane, and they would see firsthand the wreckage they could cause, and it was quite sobering. The destruction of these planes, they could flip tanks over, and the big heavy German tanks at that. And the planes could take huge damage. I mean, they could soak up so much damage. There's photographs of the planes with massive holes in their propellers and their props. Half the plane's been shot away. They are an incredible machine. We think of World War II. Single pilot fighters, we think of the Mustang, we think of the Spitfire, we think of the 109, but I always felt that the Thunderbolt was the sort of the unsung hero of World War II, of the Allies, and it's a phenomenal machine, and there's a certain beauty that the plane has that I've tried to capture in the art and in the game as well. So that's the project that I'm working on.
Well, that is great that you shared that with us. Those are awesome. I'm awestruck at the amount of effort and work. And I know that I talked to Herman about how much time and effort goes into creating a game, right? We can talk to you about how much time and effort goes into just creating one piece of art. It's just, like you said, several months worth of work, right?
Yeah, I mean, this one just took such a long time,
and this is part of the game, yeah?
Yeah, they'll be part of the game.
And you'll be charging what? Because of all the time and effort you spent into it, you'll be charging £50-60. No, of course you won't, will you, Matt? Be a £5 or a £10 or something.
It's a £5. Be a £5, mate.
Crazy.
Because it's for me, the games are as much about the appreciation, the respect due to the machines and the air crew and the pilots. For that period of history, that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, we're bonkers. You're bonkers. But it's a labour of love.
It is. Yeah, absolutely is. And like I said,
thank you for that.
No, thank you for helping me talk about it and promote the game. Yeah. When it's ready, then I'll give you guys a shout, and that would be cool. We could talk about it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. When it's done and you want to promote it. The big release date, another world premiere. Come on back on the show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really, really appreciated.
As you said, getting some notoriety out there is the main thing. Is letting people know that hey, this game just released. You might want to look at it. So
especially for the smaller the guy and girls, that do this. So I've got a big company behind them. So yeah.
I mean, I think
your marketing department needs to get a little.
You've got us now. You've got us, so there you go.
It's the Facebook channel, it's the YouTube channel. That's where I'll put everything, So, but that really helps because I think a lot.
Speaking of which, what is your Facebook channel?
So, my Facebook. Let me just bring it up quickly so I can tell you the right.
You can type it in on the right-hand side, can't you?
I think so.
On the chat thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. But certainly, my YouTube is Matt White War Games.
Okay.
And then if I pop this into the chat here, see if I can do this. If I join the chat.
Yeah, if you want to know how to get all the Matt, just link
Okay.
through either the Tack Up Facebook group or become get on his Facebook group. Matt's a great guy.
Well,
I know he doesn't do a lot of videos. He does about as many videos as Ruff does.
Shut up. But they're quality, Matt, aren't they? They're quality.
That is what, yeah. To be honest,
quantity.
it's definitely, Ruff will know this as well. Anyone making YouTube content, you go through phases where you just seem to be able to make lots of content, and you go through other phases where it's, you're struggling to find the time to
life kicks in, doesn't it? Sometimes.
It does, yeah.
And
it does.
Right.
And there are some games that I'll play where, especially like there's more solitaire games where I just struggle to think how I'd make a video out of it. Struggle to. So I like to do the videos of the games that I like to do the videos. If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, I like doing solitaire games so I can just waffle on and get excited. And when I throw a good die roll, I can leap up and down, and it's just me having fun. That's what my videos are. They're not reviews, and they're not telling you how good or bad the game is.
Yeah,
it's me playing and fun and hoping that somebody go, well, that's a good game. Yeah, I might get that, and that's all good for the industry. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I actually think in many ways in today's hobby where we are right now, I feel like the other where I get my War Games information from. I'll be honest with you, it's from the other YouTubers.
Me too.
To be honest with you, it's as simple as that.
I think we all do. We all go and look, and like when there's a game out, I go, oh, let's go and see what that's all about.
What you're saying, Matt, is there should be a Charles S. Roberts Award for us then.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Like there should be one for artists out there, Matt.
Should be one for box cover art. Yeah, there should be one.
Absolutely.
So
we're gonna start winding things up, but do you have any time frame on any projects and release dates or anything that we know about? Or
so I would like to get Would Be Aces on ready for launch this year. That's the goal. So yeah, there's that. I'm not sure when Compass will print British Tank Ace, but I'm hoping it'll be soon. I know Uwe's showing France 1940 at Gen Con, I believe, which is the next Conflict of Heroes games that I get a load of art to.
wow.
So that's cool. And then, like I said before, if there are other wargame developers out there that are interested in collaborating on a project, then just give me a shout.
Give them a holler, contact us. We'll get you in touch with them. Whatever you need to do, get in touch with them. Ruff, are you going to put anything on your table before next week, or?
Well, I've got the list here. The problem is, if it's a game I haven't played before, then I'm going to have to learn it. But it will be on there. I'm going to do some unboxings. I've got a couple of unboxings and unboxings to do.
All right. Yeah. And then tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow at 3:00, we're going to be playing Eldritch Horror with Phoenix Knight, myself, Russ Swordsman, and maybe Patrick, if he makes it. I don't know if we got an email back from him yet. But tomorrow at 3, we're going to be playing some Eldritch Horror on the channel. So if you guys want to come by for that, it'd be awesome.
It's a good fun game. It's 8:00 in proper time over here, 8 p.m.
France for 1940, Farnley on the Horizon. Yes, it is.
I hope so.
Academy,
Uwe just,
making sure. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Matt, for coming out, for sharing. I know part of what we wanted to do was talk about the difference between designing digital and designing board game. We didn't even get a chance to talk about that. So we're going to have you back. Okay.
That's no problem.
We definitely have to have you back.
Thanks for having me on the show again. So 3 times.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Real
pleasure.
You should get an award for putting up with us for 3 times.
Yeah.
Great artwork. If you want to find out more, check out his Facebook group. Is get in contact with them if you are a board game designer and you're interested in getting some awesome artwork. Make sure you contact Matt White. Please do. We want to support those that are great for our industry, and I think everything Matt does.
And
is
he's a
great.
fellow Brit as well. So come on. You know.
There you go. So thanks everyone. Thanks to Edward and David and Camp
Yeah, thanks,
Sawyer
everyone.
and Extra Squeaky and Nerd Workshop and Not Jay and Hissy Cat and Kyle Holmes, Kevin, everyone that came by, Meandering
Hey,
Mike.
Camp-
Thank you
Camp
for all the
Sawyer.
comments
Oh,
today.
yeah, hey, Camp. Yeah.
And I don't want to. Coe 51, thanks for coming out. And Herman was here for a while. I'm sure some of these people are gone already, but thank you guys for coming by. David Tomko, thank you for all your comments. Without you guys, we wouldn't have as great a show.
We'd be talking to ourselves, basically.
Like we did the first month before people decided to come visit us. So thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, we will see everybody
Yeah,
next week. I think Tony will be back next week. Unfortunately, we could have Matt back. I don't know. What do you think, Ruff? Replace him with the Brit?
Well, I can't because Tony, he won't be playing games with me otherwise. We're supposed to be playing a game on Friday. So if I
That's
say
right.
that, he'll chuck me into touch.
Right.
Yeah.
Edward, thank you for coming out. Edward Lasso, Nerd Workshop. Thank you, guys. David. All right. We will see everybody back here next week. Until then, my friends, have a great week. Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy what you're playing. And we'll see you all next week. Until then, my friends, take care.
That's great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.